There's a story about Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Braditchev. He lived at the same time that the first Rebbe of Chabad lived. And they were very good friends, and they also suffered together in many ways. They were opposed by the what was called the Mitnagdim. So there's a story about him. In his time, so Chassidut was really starting to get very popular. And what was called normal Judaism was very suspicious. And there were a lot of Jews that were very opposed. In any case, those that were not opposed to the Hasidic movement were suspicious of the whole business because there were big rabbis that came out very firmly against the whole Hasidic movement, and they said it's not Judaism, and etc. And it made everybody very, very at least cautious about it. These are great rabbis; they must have something to base themselves on. And really, the real cause of the opposition was like 90% slander, just things that were said about the Hasidim that weren't true. And another 10% were just a mistake. I mean, it was just, there was no evidence whatsoever. Okay. But nevertheless, the suspicion remained. And now, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Braditchev, he got married. His wife was from a family of people that were in the suspicious group. And even though they came to know Rabbi Levi Yitzchak, that he was a big tzaddik and he was a big holy person, but his wife's father was a big rabbi and he had a big congregation. And his congregation were composed of people that were just like him. And they were very suspicious of this whole Hasidic movement or whatever. So the father-in-law said, I'm going to give a chance here and to Rabbi and to dispel all these doubts. So he said to Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Braditchev that he wanted him to say slichos on the first night of slichos. Slichos are prayers that are said in the Ashkenazic Jews. They say it 1 week before, approximately 1 week. Sometimes it comes out to be 10 days before Rosh Hashanah. Sephardic Jews say it from the beginning of Elul. They say for 40 years. They say from the beginning of 40 days, from the beginning of Elul until Yom Kippur. They say it. But the Ashkenazim, they only say from like 7 days or 10 days before Rosh Hashanah. Some do say until Yom Kippur also. In Chabad, we also don't. We just say until Rosh Hashanah. Okay. In any case, the first night of Slichot, that's like the big night. This is, it's beginning really coming close to Rosh Hashanah, the day of judgment, the day of severity. And so people are really serious. So there was, the synagogue is packed. Hundreds and hundreds of people are there. And they're all from these Jews that are like, a little bit sort of suspicious. They realize that Chassidus is not as bad as everybody said, but still. And so Rabbi Levi Yitzchak comes in, he puts on a talit, stands in front of the whole congregation, and he's supposed to start, right? You make, he starts by saying, Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha, Ya'alulucha Salah, and he makes Kaddish, but he doesn't start. So everybody figures, well, he's probably thinking deeply about God. That's what these Hasidic people do. They think about God deeply, and they're waiting and they're waiting and they're waiting. And suddenly he'd say, I know how to pray. You can't figure. A couple of minutes later, he says, but I know how to learn. I learn Torah. And then he yells out, listen, he says it to the stand in front of him. If you know how to learn so well and you know how to pray so well, so maybe you say slichot, and he takes off his talis and he throws it at it and he walks off. So immediately his father-in-law, to save face, immediately takes the talit and he says slichot. And so his father-in-law said, well, what'd you do that for? It was a big chance to make a good impression on everybody. So Rav Levi said, listen, I wanted to do it. I want. He said, but I stood up and I started to, just getting ready to say the first word. And suddenly came along my evil impulse, my selfish impulse. And it said to me, ooh, the big rabbi is going to sing, and everybody's going to like it. You're going to get a lot of attention. It says, you're doing the whole thing just for yourself. You're just a big selfish person. So I tried not to listen to these doubts. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So, but it didn't stop. It just kept going. So I said to my own Yetzer Hara, I said, listen, maybe you're right, but in the regular days of the year, I pray. I pray long times, and I don't think about myself at all, only about God. And my evil impulse said, listen, when you were praying, I was right there with you, right? Deep down, you were hoping maybe somebody will see me, maybe someone will see how great it is. Maybe your egotism, that's me. I was there with you when you were praying. You thought it was only for God. I said, okay, but what about learning? I know how to learn. There's times I didn't eat, and for a whole day just sitting and learning, I didn't sleep. I suffered. The Yetzer Hara said, I was there with you. You were eating, you were sleeping. I always thought I'm going to go to heaven. I'm going to get a big reward. The thought was there in your mind. This was part of your motivation for praying and learning. So I said, okay, Yetzer Hara, if you know how to pray so well, and if you know how to learn so well, so maybe you say slichot. And I took the talit and I threw it and I walked off. What's the point of the story? The point of the story is that the battle that we have to make with our own egotism is a never-ending one. Okay, a big holy person like Rabbi Rav of Braditchev, I mean, he took it to, the exaggerated levels according to us. If we can pray and think about God for a second, 5 seconds, that's a big deal. Without any egotism. But by him, if he had even 5 seconds of egotism, it was not good. It's not a good thing. It shows there's a certain degree of insincerity. So that's what he said. If you know how to pray, so then maybe you say the slichot, right? Leave me alone. I'll say slichot like everybody else in the congregation. Then I won't be under such intense scrutiny. I could be like everybody else. So we have to be like everybody else. But we also have to learn from Rabbi Levi of Braditchev and also inspect ourselves with a left eye also. Have a good day with Mashiach. Now, see you all on Sunday, God willing, 8:15. Have a good Shabbos. God bless you, and we'll see each other.